Welcome, aunties, uncles, and friends, to Daily Health Advice, where every video is a warm, sincere conversation filled with valuable insights for your health and your golden years. You know, there are days when we wake up feeling tired and sluggish, even though we had a full night's sleep, ate properly, and didn't overwork ourselves. Sometimes after a meal, we feel bloated or have indigestion. Sometimes, out of nowhere, our joints ache, or our blood sugar levels spike unpredictably, even though we've been trying so hard to eat healthily. These symptoms quietly creep in and gradually become a familiar part of growing older. But here's the thing. Sometimes the root cause isn't something far away. It's not just the weather, and it's not simply aging, as many might assume. The culprit might actually be sitting right inside our fridge. Yes, some of the most common vegetables, ones we think are completely harmless, even praised as superfoods, can, in fact, quietly harm the body, especially once we're over 50. Remember how we were taught from a young age that green vegetables are the key to health and longevity? They're packed with vitamins, minerals, fiber, all the essentials for good health. But few people ever told us that as we age, our bodies don't process these foods the same way they used to. Our digestion slows down, kidney function declines, hormones shift, and metabolism becomes sluggish, all of which can turn these once beneficial vegetables into a burden if we're not careful with how we eat them. There are vegetables that, in our younger years, made us feel light and energized, but now, after a bowl of soup or a stir-fried dish, we might feel tired, bloated, or even experience unexplained joint pain. And yet, it rarely occurs to us that these familiar foods on our daily table could be the hidden cause. That's why, in today's video, I'd like to invite you to join me in taking a closer look at a very practical topic: 10 types of vegetables that people over 50 should be cautious about. Not to scare you, and not to say you should avoid them completely, but to help you understand how they interact with your body at this stage of life. With that knowledge, you'll be able to make more thoughtful, balanced, and safer choices at mealtime. I truly believe that by the end of this video, you'll have a new, more realistic perspective on eating vegetables. You'll realize that just a few simple adjustments, like choosing the right types, cooking them properly, or reducing how often you eat them, can ease the burden on your kidneys, joints, and digestive system. Eating healthy isn't just about eating what's good, it's about eating what's right for your body right now. And if you've been experiencing mysterious aches or persistent fatigue without knowing the cause, chances are the answer might just lie somewhere in the next part of this video. So please, don't go anywhere. Stay with me until the end. And if you find this topic helpful, don't hesitate to support the channel by liking, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell. Your support not only helps us spread more valuable health information, but it's also a way for us to take care of our health together, for ourselves, for our families, and for the whole community of people journeying through one of the most important phases of life: aging peacefully and healthily. Now then, let's begin. You see, once we reach middle age, our bodies no longer process starches or sugars the way they did when we were younger. The foods we used to enjoy easily and digest effortlessly now sometimes leave us feeling tired, drowsy after meals, or even slightly dizzy for no apparent reason. One of the quiet but common culprits? It turns out to be some of the very vegetables we've long believed to be the healthiest. One vegetable that's especially beloved for its mildly sweet, nutty taste is green peas. Small, bright, and always looking fresh and appetizing. If you've ever cooked pea soup, tossed them into a salad, or stir-fried them with meat, you probably thought you were making a healthy choice. But here's something few people notice. Green peas actually contain a significant amount of starch. For younger folks, the body can process this easily. But at our age, when the pancreas isn't functioning as efficiently and insulin response slows down, green peas can turn into little troublemakers that send your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride after a meal. Some people feel tired and sluggish right after a bowl of pea soup, even getting hungry again not long after. That's a sign of blood sugar spiking and then crashing quickly, a dangerous pattern if it happens often. That's not all. Green peas also contain a substance called purines, which the body breaks down into uric acid. For older adults, especially those with weakened kidney function or early signs of arthritis, this uric acid can accumulate in the joints, triggering gout attacks, swelling, and redness in the feet, particularly the big toe. If you've ever experienced nighttime joint pain in your feet, especially after meals that included green peas, it's worth paying attention. The culprit might just be that seemingly innocent soup. On top of that, green peas also contain resistant starch and lectins, two components that can be tough on an aging digestive system. If not fully broken down, these substances ferment in the gut, producing gas, bloating, and a heavy feeling after meals. So if you still enjoy eating green peas, it's best to have them in small portions, not too frequently, and pair them with gentler vegetables like pumpkin, loofah, or leafy greens to aid digestion. Another familiar vegetable found in nearly every kitchen is corn. From boiled corn and grilled corn to corn pudding, stir-fried corn, and corn soup. It's sweet, tasty, and easy to eat, which leads many people to believe corn is always healthy and safe in any quantity. But in truth, corn isn't the same as your average leafy green. Nutritionally, it's closer to a grain, meaning it's high in starch. And this type of starch breaks down into sugar very quickly in the body, especially in sweet corn and glutinous corn. For younger people, this usually isn't a big deal. But for older adults, with less stable blood sugar control, even a single ear of corn can cause blood glucose to spike sharply, leading to fatigue, dizziness, sweating, or even a sense of nervousness after eating. Many older folks feel drained or sluggish after eating corn and assume it's just the weather, but the real cause may be their blood sugar fluctuating more than they realize. Corn also happens to be hard to digest. The tough outer shell of corn kernels contains cellulose, a type of fiber that aging stomachs can't fully break down. As a result, many people feel bloated after eating corn, notice undigested kernels in their stool, or even experience constipation for days. And we haven't even talked about the issue of genetically modified corn and pesticides. Today's corn, especially industrial varieties, is often genetically modified and sprayed with chemicals like glyphosate, which may disrupt gut bacteria and strain kidney function. These chemicals might not cause immediate harm, but over time, they can weaken the kidneys, lower immunity, and contribute to chronic fatigue or persistent aches with no clear explanation. If you regularly eat canned sweet corn, fried corn, or prepackaged corn snacks and notice your body feeling off, try cutting them out for a while and see how you feel. You might be surprised by the difference. Of course, corn isn't something that needs to be completely cut out, but to stay on the safe side, it's best to choose clean, organic corn whenever possible and only eat it in small amounts. Definitely not every day. On days when you're craving corn, try boiling just half a cob, or consider swapping it for sweet potatoes or pumpkin, which are easier to digest and better for blood sugar control. You see, even with vegetables, it's important to understand your own body. Just because something is considered healthy doesn't mean we should eat it freely. Sometimes, just a bit of excess starch from green peas or one innocent-looking corn cob can be enough to spike our blood sugar and leave us feeling tired and not knowing why. But that's only part of the picture. There's another group of vegetables, also very popular and often labeled as superfoods thanks to their high vitamin and antioxidant content, that can silently strain our kidneys, especially as we age. The kidneys are quiet but vital organs, carrying out countless essential functions, from filtering blood and regulating blood pressure to flushing out toxins. When the kidneys are overworked, the entire body begins to feel it. So next, I'd like to invite you to continue this journey with me, as we explore certain vegetables that, while good on paper, can gradually wear down the kidneys if not consumed properly, and more importantly, how to enjoy them in a way that's still delicious but gentler on your kidneys. Dear aunties and uncles, when people think of the kidneys, they often just associate them with how often they urinate, or maybe worry a little when lab results come back abnormal. But in truth, the kidneys carry an enormous load, quietly supporting our health every single day. Every minute, the kidneys filter over half a liter of blood to remove toxins. They regulate blood pressure, maintain electrolyte balance, prevent fluid buildup, and support many other organs. When we're young and our kidneys are strong, we barely notice. But as we grow older, even a small added burden from medications, food, or daily habits can cause the kidneys to weaken. And here's the surprising part. Some vegetables that seem incredibly healthy can actually put significant stress on the kidneys if we're not careful. Especially after age 50, when our body's detox and filtration systems no longer operate as swiftly as before. One such vegetable is asparagus. It's a fairly Western veggie, not traditionally common in Vietnamese daily meals, but in recent years, many have embraced it thanks to claims that it's heart-healthy, full of antioxidants, and great for staying in shape. Dishes like garlic sautéed asparagus, asparagus soup, or steamed asparagus with salted egg yolk are all tasty and visually appealing. But not many people realize that asparagus is high in purines, a compound that the body turns into uric acid. For younger people with healthy kidneys, this isn't a major concern. But if you've ever had joint pain, gout, or a history of kidney issues, the rise in uric acid after eating asparagus can become a serious problem. If you've ever noticed joint pain after a meal that included asparagus, or woke up with a throbbing big toe, don't be too quick to blame the weather or your age. That delicious asparagus dish from the day before might be the hidden reason. And there's more. Asparagus has strong diuretic properties. At first glance, that might sound like a good thing, helping to detox the body. But for older adults, frequent urination can actually lead to dehydration without realizing it. You might notice times when you feel very thirsty but don't drink, or you're going to the bathroom a lot, but then feel dizzy, tired, or even get muscle cramps. These are signs that your body is losing too much water. And when dehydration sets in, the kidneys are the first to feel the impact. They're forced to work harder to filter blood, but without enough fluid to do the job efficiently. This allows toxins to linger longer in the body, potentially triggering inflammation, fatigue, and worsening of existing health issues. If you've ever eaten asparagus and noticed a dull backache, dry mouth, or just a general feeling of low energy, try cutting it out for a while and see if things improve. That doesn't mean you have to eliminate asparagus completely, but be smart about it. Don't eat it too often, and keep each portion small. And always remember to drink enough water afterward to prevent dehydration and support your kidneys' filtering function. Now, aside from asparagus, there's another very familiar vegetable, one that's even been crowned the king of superfoods, and that's spinach. Spinach is a common ingredient in green juices, salads, soups, and garlic stir-fries. It's praised for being rich in vitamins A, C, and K, as well as iron, calcium, and fiber, all undeniably good for health. And that's absolutely true. But what most people don't talk about is this. Spinach is also very high in oxalates, compounds that, when combined with calcium in the kidneys, can easily form stones. And for older adults, whose kidney function and excretion may have already declined, long-term accumulation of oxalates can silently lead to the formation of kidney stones without warning. If you've ever had kidney stones, you know how excruciating it can be. Sharp back pain, difficulty urinating, nausea, fatigue, all caused by a tiny little stone. And unfortunately, spinach, if eaten the wrong way, can quietly contribute to that condition. That's not all. Oxalates also interfere with calcium absorption in the body. This is especially concerning for older adults, because by this stage in life, bones have already started to lose density and joints are becoming weaker. You might think spinach is helping your bones, but in fact, eating too much can make it harder for your body to absorb calcium, making bones even more fragile. Additionally, many people have the habit of drinking raw spinach juice, thinking that fresh is best. But in reality, oxalates and several other compounds in spinach are only reduced through cooking. If you've been drinking green smoothies and feel bloated, have trouble digesting, or notice a dull backache after a few days, try switching things up and see what happens. Here are some helpful tips. Boil spinach thoroughly and discard the first batch of boiling water. Avoid eating it raw, especially in juice form on a daily basis. If you eat spinach regularly, pair it with calcium-rich foods like yogurt or cheese, so the calcium can bind to the oxalates in the stomach, keeping them from reaching the kidneys. Just remember this simple rule. Green vegetables are good for you, but not every green is good for everyone, and not all greens are good when eaten the wrong way. Dear aunties and uncles, taking care of your kidneys doesn't require anything drastic. Sometimes, just adjusting how you eat asparagus, spinach, or other seemingly harmless vegetables can take a big load off your kidneys. And when your kidneys are protected, you'll feel lighter, less tired, less achy, sleep better, and enjoy a clearer, brighter mind. But the kidneys aren't the only organs affected by eating vegetables the wrong way. There's another system, just as important, especially as we age, and that's our bones and joints. Have you ever eaten a vegetable dish and found your joints stiffer the next morning, with a dull ache, or your hands and feet tingling for no apparent reason? It's very possible that the culprit is that very vegetable, whether it's eggplant, bell pepper, or even potatoes, subtly triggering inflammation in the body and making your joints ache without you realizing why. That's why I invite you to keep going with me, to uncover which vegetables, though seemingly harmless, might be silently affecting your joints, and how we can make smarter food choices to protect every step we take, every single day. Dear friends, once we pass 50, our joints aren't as agile as they once were. Those first few steps in the morning can feel heavy, and sometimes, all it takes is a change in the weather for our knees to creak, our limbs to stiffen, and our joints to ache as if someone were twisting them from the inside. And while we've long believed that arthritis and bone degeneration are just an inevitable part of aging, there's an important truth we often overlook. Some of the vegetables we eat every day, the ones we think are completely healthy, might actually be making those symptoms worse. Not every vegetable is a friend to our bones and joints. Some common, familiar vegetables, when eaten the wrong way, can increase inflammation, prolong pain, and yet we rarely suspect them as the cause. Think about this simple, rustic dish, easy to cook, easy to eat, found everywhere from the countryside to the city: eggplant. Eggplant is a humble favorite, whether it's grilled and dipped in fish sauce, braised with pork, stir-fried with garlic, or cooked in soup. But few people know that eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, along with potatoes, bell peppers, and tomatoes, and these vegetables contain a compound called solanine. For some sensitive individuals, especially older adults with arthritis, gout, or autoimmune conditions, solanine can increase inflammation in the body, leading to swollen joints, stiffness, or persistent, unexplained aches. If you've ever had eggplant soup and found that your joints were cracking, stiffer than usual the next morning, or your hands and feet felt stiff when you woke up, try thinking back to what you ate the night before. But that's not all. Eggplant also contains oxalates, which can crystallize in the kidneys and form stones. So if you've had kidney stones before, or are experiencing a dull lower back ache, difficulty urinating, or lingering fatigue, eggplant might be a food to approach with caution. There's another reason eggplant may not sit well with older adults. Its skin is tough, and its tiny seeds throughout the flesh can be difficult for a weaker digestive system to handle. If you often experience acid reflux, bloating, or a heavy stomach after meals, this could be the cause. Of course, none of this means you need to eliminate eggplant entirely. When prepared the right way, it's still a delicious, affordable, and potentially beneficial food. Here are a few tips. Peel the skin if you find it hard to digest. Cook it thoroughly, braise it until soft, roast it well, or simmer it into soup to reduce solanine levels. Avoid eating eggplant raw or barely stir-fried, as insufficient heat won't neutralize the compounds that may cause trouble. If you've ever noticed less joint pain or better digestion after switching from eggplant to vegetables like loofah, pumpkin, or bok choy, that might be your body sending a positive signal. Another vegetable that often appears on our dining table, looking perfectly innocent with its bright, cheerful colors, and widely praised for its vitamin C and antioxidant content, is the bell pepper. Bell peppers, with their red, yellow, and green hues, add vibrant color to any dish, and many people assume they're friendly to all aspects of health. However, for older adults, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, just like eggplant, bell peppers are also part of the nightshade family, meaning they contain solanine, which, again, can trigger inflammation in those with sensitive systems or underlying joint issues. This is especially true for people who have mild allergies or react easily to unfamiliar foods. Next, bell pepper skins are thick and tough, not easy to digest if your stomach is already weaker. Many people eat stir-fried bell peppers or toss them into salads and then suffer from acid reflux, belching, or bloating, not realizing that the indigestible skin is likely to blame. And there's one more common reaction. Some people experience itchy skin, a burning sensation in the mouth, nasal congestion, or general fatigue after eating bell peppers. These symptoms are easy to mistake for a cold or seasonal allergy, but they could actually be your body quietly signaling distress over that colorful vegetable you just ate. So if you still enjoy bell peppers for their sweetness and crunch, try this approach. Roast them first, then peel off the skin before cooking. Avoid eating them raw. Instead, stir-fry them thoroughly or cook them until soft. Or swap them for carrots, zucchini, or broccoli, vegetables that are also rich in vitamin C but easier to digest and gentler on aging joints. You see, when it comes to vegetables, it's not just about what's healthy in general. It's about what's healthy for you right now. Looking back, we begin to realize something important. Joint pain isn't only the result of time or aging. It can also come from the foods we choose to eat every day. When your body starts to react after a meal, whether it's mild, like a sore back or stiff knees, or more intense, like being unable to move comfortably in the morning, that's the moment to pause and listen. And the good news is, we can absolutely take charge of that, simply by adjusting the way we choose vegetables, how we cook them, and how much we consume. But the journey of understanding vegetables doesn't stop here. There's another group of vegetables, seemingly gentle on the outside, even praised as cleansing greens, detox veggies, or weight loss vegetables, that, when consumed the wrong way, can disrupt digestion, strain the thyroid, and have a significant impact on the hormonal system, especially in older adults. If you've ever eaten cabbage, kale, or drank raw vegetable juice and then felt faint, chilled, or had digestive discomfort that lasted for hours, the next part will be especially important. Let's keep going and explore the vegetables that affect the thyroid and digestive system, so we can not only eat right, but eat smart, supporting our health from the inside out. Dear aunties and uncles, the human body is a remarkable system, and within it, the thyroid plays a role much like the master switch, controlling many of the body's essential metabolic functions. The thyroid sits right at the front of your neck, small and unassuming, yet it governs how fast your body burns energy, impacts your weight, temperature regulation, memory, sleep, and even mood. When the thyroid slows down, a condition called hypothyroidism, you may feel tired, gain weight, have cold hands and feet, experience brain fog, or find yourself forgetting things more easily. The tricky part? Many people don't even realize they have a thyroid issue. And what most of us don't expect is that a few seemingly healthy vegetables, when eaten the wrong way, can actually suppress thyroid function or overstimulate the digestive system, causing discomfort in older bodies. One of the most common vegetables, likely found in nearly every household, is cabbage. Cabbage, whether it's boiled and dipped in fish sauce, stir-fried with garlic, rolled with meat, or simmered in soup, is beloved for being affordable, tasty, and easy to cook. It's known for its fiber and vitamin C content, for supporting heart health and digestion. But here's something few people know. Cabbage contains a compound called goitrin, which can interfere with your body's ability to absorb iodine. Since iodine is essential for the thyroid to function properly, eating too much raw or lightly cooked cabbage can unintentionally suppress thyroid activity. This is especially important for anyone who already has thyroid issues, such as hypothyroidism, a sluggish thyroid, or those taking thyroid medication. Eating improperly prepared cabbage may worsen their symptoms. On top of that, cabbage contains a sugar called raffinose, a type of carbohydrate that's tough to digest and easily ferments in the gut. If your digestive system is still strong, this isn't a big issue. But if you struggle with stomach problems, bloating, acid reflux, or irritable bowel syndrome, then eating raw cabbage or undercooked stir-fried cabbage may cause bloating, heartburn, or mild stomach pain after meals. If you've ever eaten stir-fried cabbage and then felt discomfort in your belly, light nausea, or unexplained fatigue, it might be time to take another look at how you're preparing it. The good news is, there are cooking methods that preserve cabbage's nutrients while eliminating many of the problematic compounds. One highly recommended method is fermentation, turning it into pickled cabbage or Korean-style kimchi. When cabbage is properly fermented, the levels of goitrin and raffinose drop significantly, and it produces beneficial probiotics for your gut. Eating pickled cabbage or kimchi not only aids digestion and prevents constipation, but also helps restore balance to your gut microbiome, an excellent digestive support for older adults. If you're not a fan of pickled cabbage, no worries. You can simply boil it thoroughly, steam it, or cook it in soup with warming ingredients like ginger and garlic. These help make cabbage easier to digest while also minimizing its negative effects on the thyroid. Another vegetable that's been idolized in many health-conscious communities is kale. You've probably heard of it, often featured in detox diets, weight loss menus, green juices, and trendy salads. People promote kale as being rich in calcium, vitamin C, K, and antioxidants. And yes, it is incredibly nutrient-dense. But being nutrient-rich doesn't automatically mean it's suitable for everyone, especially not for older adults. First, kale is also very high in oxalates, similar to spinach. If you eat too much of it or frequently consume it raw, the oxalates can bind with calcium and form kidney stones, something no one who's experienced it would want to go through again. Second, kale contains goitrin, which, as mentioned earlier, can interfere with the thyroid's hormone production. For those who already feel fatigued, have cold hands and feet, or struggle to lose weight despite a clean diet, mild hypothyroidism might be the culprit, and eating too much raw kale could be quietly making it worse. Third, when kale is consumed raw, such as in juices, it retains most of its unprocessed compounds. This can overstimulate a weakened digestive system. You might feel bloated, slightly dizzy, or chilled after a green juice, all while believing you're cleansing your body. So should we eat kale? The answer is yes, but it needs to be prepared properly. Here's how to do it right. Cook it thoroughly. Sauté, steam, or boil. Any method works. Avoid drinking raw kale juice every day, especially if you have thyroid issues or a history of kidney stones. Combine it with natural calcium-rich foods like black sesame seeds, plant-based milks, or cheese. This helps prevent oxalates from forming crystals in the kidneys. You see, vegetables like cabbage and kale, widely loved and praised, aren't bad at all. But they can become double-edged swords when eaten the wrong way or in excess, especially when our bodies are already showing signs of weakness. Caring for the thyroid and digestive system doesn't always require medication or frequent doctor visits. Sometimes, it's as simple as choosing the right vegetables, cooking them properly, and eating them in moderation. And just like that, your body begins to gently repair itself from the inside out. But our journey through the world of vegetables isn't over yet. There are still vegetables that seem harmless, the kind that show up on our plates regularly. Yet, if used the wrong way over time, can quietly impact our health. Not in the obvious ways, like stomach pain or skin rashes, but through subtle effects that build up day after day. Fatigue with no clear cause, digestive irregularities, lowered immunity, or dull, lingering back pain. The danger lies in how quietly they act. With no immediate symptoms, they're easy to ignore. That's why I invite you to keep walking this path with me, as we uncover vegetables that may carry long-term risks, and more importantly, how to cook and eat them in ways that retain their nutrients while avoiding unwanted side effects. With just a little more knowledge and a few small adjustments, you can enjoy your meals, feel satisfied, and still keep your body healthy, light, and safe every single day. Dear friends, some vegetables won't cause any obvious reaction after eating. No stomach pain, no joint aches, no bloating or gas. But it's this very gentleness that makes them easy to overlook, while the real risks come from the slow accumulation of hidden toxins over time. One such food, very common, widely praised as a superfood, yet with serious downsides if misunderstood, is mushrooms. In Vietnam, mushrooms are a familiar ingredient, from straw mushrooms and shiitake to button, oyster, and enoki mushrooms. They're found in soups, hot pots, and stir-fries across every household. People often praise mushrooms for being high in fiber, low in calories, good for the heart, and helpful in weight management. But what many don't realize is that mushrooms are a very unique kind of plant, because they have an extraordinary ability to absorb. Mushrooms act like living sponges. They soak up water, nutrients, and also toxins from the soil, including heavy metals like lead, mercury, and arsenic, especially if they're grown in contaminated environments. When mushrooms are cultivated under clean, certified organic conditions, there's little to worry about. But the reality is that many mushrooms sold in markets or even supermarkets today are industrially farmed, sometimes in soil that's been reused too many times or exposed to chemicals without proper cleansing. When we eat these mushrooms, the toxins don't show their effects right away. Instead, they slowly accumulate in the liver and kidneys. And for older adults, whose detox systems are already slowing down, this buildup can lead to chronic fatigue, mild headaches, persistent back pain, or even memory issues without a clear cause. It doesn't stop there. Certain types of mushrooms, especially white button mushrooms, contain a compound called agarotine. Research has shown that when mushrooms are eaten raw or only lightly stir-fried, agarotine can stimulate cellular activity in a way that may increase the risk of immune disorders and has even been linked to certain types of cancer if consumed frequently over time. And here's something else that shouldn't be overlooked. Mushrooms are one of the more allergy-prone plant foods. For younger people, a mushroom allergy might just show up as an itchy mouth or a few red spots. But for older adults, whose immune responses are weaker, mushroom allergies can appear more subtly. Post-meal fatigue, digestive issues, minor joint discomfort, or unusual drowsiness. So, should we still eat mushrooms? The answer is yes, but only with proper care. Always choose mushrooms with a clear origin. Go for organic if possible. Cook them thoroughly. Don't eat them raw or undercooked. If you feel bloated, tired, experience back pain, or struggle to sleep after eating mushrooms, consider cutting them out for a while and observing if your body improves. Now let's talk about another common food, not quite a vegetable, but often found in Vietnamese meals: potatoes. At first glance, they seem harmless. After all, they're a root crop, they're natural. But when we look closely, potatoes turn out to be a hidden blood sugar bomb, especially for anyone over 50. Potatoes are high in starch, and once inside the body, that starch quickly converts into sugar, about the same effect as eating white rice or white bread. So if you're diabetic or struggling with unstable blood sugar, even a bowl of boiled potatoes, which seems healthy, can cause a sugar spike, leaving you drained, dizzy, or hungry again just an hour later. It gets worse when potatoes are fried, like in French fries, potato chips, or crispy potato cakes. At this point, they don't just carry starch, but also form a compound called acrylamide, a chemical that promotes inflammation, affects the nervous system, and has been linked to cancer when consumed regularly over time. And here's a lesser-known fact. Peeling potatoes before cooking removes most of their fiber, making the starch absorb even faster, leading to quicker hunger and more weight gain. Not ideal for older adults who need stable blood sugar levels. So, if you love potatoes, here's how to enjoy them more wisely. Boil or bake them with the skin on. Don't peel them if you can help it. Avoid frying, and steer clear of processed or packaged potato snacks. Keep portions small and substitute with sweet potatoes whenever possible. They're higher in fiber, have less impact on blood sugar, and are better for digestion and vision. You see, the foods we eat every day, the ones we think are perfectly harmless, can silently place a burden on our bodies if we're not paying attention. Whether it's mushrooms, potatoes, or even cabbage and kale, the key isn't to fear these foods, but to know them well, prepare them properly, and eat them in a way that supports your health, not works against it. From mushrooms to potatoes, the key isn't about cutting them out completely. It's about understanding your body's limits and adjusting accordingly. And now, we've come a long way on this eye-opening journey, from vegetables that spike blood sugar, affect kidney function, strain joints, and impact the thyroid, to those hidden culprits quietly sitting on our dinner plates. All of this isn't meant to make you afraid of vegetables or feel anxious every time you step into the kitchen. The purpose of today's journey is simple: to help you better understand how your body changes with age, so you can choose foods that help you live healthier, lighter, and more peacefully each day. Dear aunties and uncles, growing older is not the end of health. It's the stage where your body needs your care and love more than ever. Over the course of your life, you've probably eaten thousands of meals, hundreds of vegetables, prepared in countless different ways. Some foods made you feel good. Others left you bloated or tired without you knowing why. Today, we've taken a closer look at seemingly innocent vegetables, from green peas, corn, and asparagus, to mushrooms and potatoes, and realized that every vegetable has two sides, benefits and drawbacks, depending on how you use them, when you eat them, and the condition of your body. What matters most isn't eliminating all your familiar favorites. It's making one small shift in awareness. Understanding what your body needs right now. Is your kidney still strong? Is your blood sugar stable? Are your joints aching more than before? Knowing how to cook things properly, like boiling thoroughly, peeling when necessary, avoiding raw or undercooked foods, or simply switching things up to suit your current health. And most importantly, practicing moderation. Just because something is called a superfood doesn't mean it should be eaten daily. Just because it's a healthy vegetable doesn't mean you should consume it without limits. Because, as you know, caring for your health isn't about big, dramatic changes. It's about small, mindful choices made every day, in every meal, every step, and every night's sleep. And when you approach food with just a bit more awareness, your body will thank you in ways you'll truly feel. If today's video was helpful, if there was a vegetable that surprised you, or a piece of information that made you want to head to the kitchen and try something different, then that is the greatest reward for me and the team at Daily Health Advice. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today, or name a vegetable you'll be eating a bit less often from now on to take better care of your kidneys, joints, or digestion. Every comment you leave gives us the motivation to keep creating even more valuable content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos that can help you live a healthier, lighter, and more joyful life, one day at a time. Thank you for spending your precious time with me on this journey. Wishing you continued strength, peace, and the wisdom to take great care of yourself. Because while health isn't everything, without it, everything else loses meaning. See you again in the next video from Daily Health Advice, where even the smallest bit of knowledge can gently and sustainably transform your life.